There's a man who never wrote a single book, never traveled more than 200 miles from home, died at 33, executed as a criminal. And yet, 2,000 years later, 71% of humanity believes he performed miracles. The other 29%? They're convinced he was just a man. But here's what nobody talks about. The real miracle wasn't walking on water. It was this. He revealed something about human nature so uncomfortable, so destabilizing, that we've been killing each other over it ever since. Welcome to the story of Jesus Christ, not the Sunday school version, the one that explains why we can't agree on anything. Let's do something historians hate. Let's count votes. 34% of the world, Christians, believe Jesus was God himself. Miracles? Absolutely. 25%, Muslims, believe he was a prophet granted divine power by Allah. Miracles? Yes, but not that kind. 16%, atheists, believe he was just a charismatic teacher. Miracles? Delusion. 0.2%, Jewish scholars, believe he was a false messiah, dangerous, human. And the remaining 25%, Hindus, Buddhists, folk religions, they believe and don't believe simultaneously. Schrodinger's miracle. Do the math. 3 out of 4 humans believe Jesus performed miracles. But here's the problem. That doesn't make it true. For centuries, everyone believed washing your hands before surgery was ridiculous. Doctors mocked it. Patients died from infections. Majority opinion doesn't equal truth. So we turn to science, right? Show us the peer-reviewed study. Prove someone can walk on water. Resurrect the dead in a lab. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. History doesn't work like science. Science needs repeatability. Drop an apple, it falls, every time. But history? History is a one-shot event. You can't rewind time and ask Julius Caesar to get stabbed 23 times again, this time on a GoPro. And that's where we get stuck. Because the moment we can't scientifically prove something, we start fighting over whose truth gets to win. So who was Jesus, really? Let's strip away the theology and look at the man. Born in 4 BCE, not year 0, historians love correcting that, in a backwater town under Roman occupation, his mother, Mary, claimed an angel told her she'd conceive a child without sex. His adoptive father, Joseph, believed her, or at least he didn't leave. For 30 years, Jesus was nobody, a carpenter, silent, invisible. Then suddenly, at age 30, he steps into public life. And immediately he starts breaking rules. He eats with prostitutes and tax collectors, the scum of society. He heals people on the Sabbath, a day so sacred you could be stoned for working. He tells religious leaders they're hypocrites to their faces, and people loved him for it. Crowds followed him, thousands. He fed them with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. He healed the blind, raised the dead. At least, that's what the witnesses said. But here's the thing about truth. Machiavelli knew it. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Jesus appeared to be many things. To the poor, a liberator. To the sick, a healer. To the Pharisees, the religious elite, a threat. Because Jesus didn't just perform miracles, he exposed the lie that power and piety were the same thing. And powerful people hate being exposed. The Pharisees had a problem. Jesus was getting too popular, too influential. And worse, he was making them look bad. So they did what threatened powers always do. They plotted to kill him, but they needed a betrayer. Enter Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus's own disciples, offered 30 silver coins, about $200 today, to turn him in. Judas kissed Jesus on the cheek, a mark for the Roman guards. That's him. Arrest him. Jesus was dragged to trial, beaten, mocked, whipped, sentenced to crucifixion, the most humiliating death Rome could inflict. And here's where the story gets psychologically fascinating. As Jesus hung on the cross, bleeding, suffocating, dying, he said something that makes no sense. "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." Think about that. He wasn't angry. He wasn't vengeful. He forgave the people killing him. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Jesus took it further. He didn't just refuse revenge, he loved the people who destroyed him. And that's when the sky turned black. A Roman centurion, a man who'd crucified hundreds, looked up and whispered, "Truly, this was the Son of God." 3 days later, the tomb was empty. Witnesses claimed Jesus was alive, walking, talking, eating. For 40 days he appeared to his followers. Then he ascended into the sky, promising to return. And that's when the war really began. Here's the uncomfortable part. Almost every historian, Christian, atheist, Jewish, Muslim, agrees Jesus existed. But whether he performed miracles, that's where the war starts. Because here's what Jesus actually did. He weaponized the concept of absolute truth. Christians say, Jesus is God. That's absolute truth. Muslims say, Jesus was a prophet. That's absolute truth. Atheists say, Jesus was a man. That's absolute truth. And suddenly, everyone's absolute truth is just their opinion. Nietzsche saw this coming. He wrote, "There are no facts, only interpretations." But here's the trap. The moment someone says, there's no absolute truth, they've just claimed that as an absolute truth. So we're stuck in this loop. Science demands proof. History offers testimony. Faith demands belief. And nobody can win. An atheist says, I don't believe in miracles. A Christian says, that's fine. To each their own. Then the atheist says, but don't teach religion in schools. Don't make laws based on faith. Wait, so your truth isn't relative after all, is it? Because the moment someone else's truth starts affecting your life, boom, war. So what did Jesus really reveal? Not that miracles are real, not that God exists, but this. Humans cannot agree on truth, and we never will, because truth isn't just about facts, it's about identity. If you're a Christian and someone says, Jesus didn't rise from the dead, they're not just disagreeing with a claim, they're attacking who you are. If you're an atheist and someone says, you need God to be moral, they're not offering advice, they're saying you're broken without faith. And that's why the story of Jesus matters, not because he walked on water, but because his existence forced humanity to confront the most destabilizing question in history. What if everything I believe is wrong? We can't handle that question, so we don't ask it. Instead, we build walls. We create us and them. We say, my truth is absolute, yours is relative, and then we kill each other over it for 2,000 years. So here's the final question. Not whether Jesus performed miracles, but this. What truth are you willing to kill for? Because that's what Jesus revealed, not that we're evil, but that we're fragile. Our beliefs, our truths, are so central to who we are that we'd rather destroy others than question ourselves. The Bhagavad Gita teaches, the soul is neither born and nor does it die. But our egos, our need to be right, that dies the moment we admit we might be wrong. Jesus forgave the people who killed him. Can you forgive the people who disagree with you? 71% of humanity believes in miracles. 29% doesn't, and both sides are convinced the other is blind. Maybe the real miracle is learning to live with people who see the world completely differently than you do.